ìyá mo fẹ́ gbáṣọ fún yín bá mo wà ní kápá kìíní mo fi ń wá yín mo bá padà dé ọ́fíìsì mo wọ̀ sí lọ́fíìsì lẹ́tà nígbà.
Láti login sí Zoom. Káwọn kí ni àwọn kíni ìgbìmọ̀ àlọ́kọ̀ọ́lẹ̀? Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni màá.
Enter normally now. Link tí a send that's it. Link tí a send for opening that's all you should use.
Check send it.
Mo ti send it.
Ẹ forward it WhatsApp. Ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni lórí WhatsApp?
Nígbà tẹ́yìn tẹ́ fẹ́ ṣe nǹkan ọ̀gbà ni sọ àwọn olówó ní àwọn olófin.
No, àkókò lè forward ẹ̀ sí pé kéèmì náà wò ó ẹ̀dígẹ́dì.
Just if you have kini can stick on.
Ẹ ó yé mi ẹ tọ̀ okay send it.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Good morning, everyone. She has given me permission to unmute, and I have done that. Okay. Good morning, everyone. You're all welcome to Good morning, everyone. Yeah, all welcome to the SMS conference. We apologize by starting some 10 minutes to 10, 12 minutes behind schedule. We are going to adhere strictly to the time schedule that we have on our program. We are going to start by taking the National Anthem and then the FPI anthem. So can we please have the anthem?
Excellence
Thank you. Okay. Can we please have that shared? Okay, we are taking the opening for this conference. And can we have that shared, please?
The opening prayer. O God of creation, direct our noble course, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know,
in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true. Great lofty eyes attain, to build a nation where
peace and justice shall reign.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. I welcome our rector, Architect Aluko, the Dean, School of Management Studies, Dr. M.A. Akinde, all other deans that have joined. You can see that Dr. Dulami has joined, Dr. Idoro has also joined, and then heads of departments. I'm sorry, the chairman of the organizing committee, heads of departments, colleagues from SMS. You are all welcome to this SMS conference. I think we all know that as academic staff, our service in the academy is three-pronged. And then this involves teaching, researching, and then rendering service. The exercise that we are embarking upon today, of course, all of them are supposed to be balanced. None is supposed to suffer for the others. So the exercise that we're embarking upon today is the second important aspect of our service to the academy, which is researching. In the course of the next 48 hours, people are going to be presenting their I welcome promises to be a rewarding time. So I will want to humbly call on the chairman organizing committee, who is Mr. Ogumbi, to give us his welcome address. Mr. J. Ogumbi, can you please unmute yourself and give us your welcome address?
Thank you. Thank you, my rector, the principal officers of Federal Polytechnic Ilaro, my dean, Dr. M.E. Akinde, all deans that are present, our lead paper presenter, and keynote speaker. I'm happy today that we are holding our 12th national and first virtual conference tagged Sustaining the Nigerian Economy for Technological Growth and Building the COVID-19 pandemic. For creating an engaging environment for numerous research in order to give the conference the expected height it deserves. The committee has selected the keynote FPI. The registrar from the Chartered Bank of Nigeria. Has 14 years experience in banking and administration. We live together for that period. I have no doubt in his ability he tried to make sure that the conference meets expected national coverage. We have also extended our invitation to a professional accountant, a tax practitioner, who is also a professor of accounting, and a former dean from the University of Benin, the person of Professor I thank you for accepting this invitation. I've had a very good working relationship with you, especially in auditing the both sides. And welcome you. We appreciate all our distinguished paper presenters at this conference. This committee assures that the book of readings of this conference will be published within the next 3 weeks. However, mighty tests will carry out for all only papers that the organizing committee hereby appreciates our parents who accept managing people.
Sọnà bí wọ́n ti ráìtì ń ti pẹ́ ráìtì wọn bá gbé apprentice. Iná náà ṣì ń lò yìí. This is still electricity.
Thank you, Mr. Gumbi, for that short speech. I quickly go on to invite the Dean, School of Management Studies, Dr. M.A. Akinde, to give his address. Dr. Akinde, can we have your address, please?
Thank you so much. I don't know whether you are hearing me. Am I audible enough?
Sir. We can hear you.
Oh, good
Yes,
morning.
Sir.
Let me start by saying that I thank God Almighty for giving us this day. My Lord Spiritual and Temporal, the Director of the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro, I think that you can help me to share the address. My Lord Spiritual and Temporal, Director of Federal Polytechnic Ilaro, the Deputy Rector, Engineer Mrs. Ufayo Haike, the Registrar of the institution, Mrs. Oshori AF, the Bossa, Mr. Bode Ajibode, the Polytechnic Librarian, Dr. Mrs. Bola Atuluma, and our consummate council member here present, Deans of School, former Deans of School of SMS, ex of department, chief lecturers, the chairman local organizing committee and the committee member, the secretary local organizing committee, Dr. Bako Waye, distinguished members of local organizing committee, lecturers and other school, lecturers in the school and other schools in the Polytechnic, the articulate Nigerian students who are here with us, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the lecturers and students of the School of Management Studies of this best Polytechnic, I am extremely grateful and delighted and highly honored too to stand before this scholarly audience to welcome you to the 12th National Conference and the first virtual conference organized by the school. It is a great honor and pleasure to welcome you to this academic discussion on sustaining the Nigerian economy for technological growth amidst COVID-19 pandemic. The topic is indeed topical and timely at a time the growth rate of Nigerian economy is less than 1%. The exchange rates, US dollar, pound sterling, among others, have worsened. This is because the country relies mainly only on crude oil. Unfortunately, COVID-19 beckons new normal, new ways of doing things through technology. So the demand for crude oil has jet landed. In other words, effective demand for crude oil has plummeted in the international corridors. Crude oil is an extractive raw material. It's no longer attractive in the global economy. Today, the world and robotic economy is now the driver of sustainable growth in modern and economic
Please kindly unmute yourself, sir. Dr. Akinde, please kindly unmute yourself. You are muted. Please kindly unmute yourself. But he has not had.
Am I back?
Yes, sir.
Hello, am I back?
Yes, sir.
You are back. You can continue.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Hello?
Continue, please.
Am I back?
Please continue, Dr.
Oh, I'm sorry
Akinde.
for that loss in
Yes, you
the
are.
signal, and I'm here in the office. So, like I was saying,
We apologize for the glitches that we are experiencing. I think the service where Akinde is located is causing the disruptions. Dr. Akinde, if you can hear, can you please move to another location? Dr. Akinde? Dr. Akinde, we can't hear you again. Please move to another location.
Hello, I'm hearing you.
Okay.
I'm hearing you. Let me quickly.
It seems your location is...
It's in the Polytechnic here, and at the signal, I don't know what's happening to the signal. I'm here in the office. So
okay,
quickly, let me just say that let me just summarize the lecture, the presentation. The paradigm of creative knowledge, artificial intelligence are now the order of the day. The world is statically leaving us behind, and that I hope this conference will provide opportunity to deliberate on how to use technology, to deliberate on how to use technology to drive the Nigerian growth. To drive the discussion is therefore in this conference, the best keynote and lead paper presenters have been invited to diagnose the German variables that can exert positive shocks to drive Nigerian growth towards the trajectory of sustainable development amidst COVID-19 pandemic. Furthermore, this conference is a double-edged sword, academic conference and retreat. It will later feature retreats where important issues on research, pedagogy, teaching, examination, classroom management, ethics in academia will be discussed later on next week. I am particularly excited and privileged to have Professor Ufan James Laboya as the lead paper presenter from the University of Benin. Please, sir, extend my pleasantry to Professor Eriki, a highly cerebral professor of finance of University of Benin, who was my main PhD supervisor at the Kubernetes University Ota. Equally, I am overwhelmingly glad to have academic and professional colossals as lead paper presenter, Dr. Shoye Awujobi, the registrar, Shatta Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, and Dr. Adibakin, ME of Yabatech. The School of Business Study has been home for a very long time, and this conference, we have the 12th edition. It was the first in the polytechnic sector in Nigeria. At a time that no polytechnic in Nigeria Africa had organized a conference. We have started that conference here, a robust discussion. And where there are internet challenges during presentation, such presenters will be supported from any of the 4 corridors provided for use of the conference. The conference deploys technology, therefore, the certificates of the conference will be available online, and the threshold of seniority index of 20% will be engaged. On the final note, many thanks to every individual who had contributed to the success story of this conference. In particular, acknowledge and appreciate the contributions of our amiable rector, the current chairman of the committee of rector, the one that has been publicly adjudged as a performer, Architect Olusegun Olaniroju Aluko, and the management team for moral and financial support to have this conference. I am deeply appreciative. The main financial
I think we lost Dr. Akinde again. Dr. Akinde. Okay. We want to take this time out to appreciate our rector, who is ever so supportive. We call on him now to give us his address. And we also want him to also use this opportunity to declare the conference open. I now invite the rector, Architect Aluko, to give us his address as the chief host. Architect Aluko.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you, sir.
Very well. So the keynote presenter of this noble conference, the lead paper presenters, the Dean School of Management Studies and all other deans present, the heads of departments, our colleagues from all departments in the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro. I welcome you all to the opening ceremony of this 12th National Conference of the School of Management Studies, holding virtually from the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro. The virtual nature of this edition of the biennial conference will no doubt allow for greater inclusion, as scholars all over the globe will be afforded the opportunity to be part of the discussion without having to expose themselves to the ravages of COVID-19 pandemic and security risks. The theme for this conference is apt, well chosen, and all-encompassing and timely, sustaining the Nigerian economy for technological growth amidst COVID-19 pandemic. As of 13 September 2021, data from the World Health Organization reveals that the COVID-19 pandemic has globally impacted 218 countries and territories, with more than 224 million confirmed cases and over 4.6 million mortalities. For Nigeria, as of the same date, over 199,000 COVID-19 cases have been confirmed, with casualties amounting to about 2,598. The COVID-19 pandemic has spawned a most challenging health and economic crisis for Nigeria. It erupted at the same time Nigeria was recovering from the mid-2016 recession, which necessitated the development of Nigeria's Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, ERGP, 2017 to 2020. A medium-term development plan designed as one of its coping mechanisms for grappling with the recession. The ERGP's actual focus on economic, social, and environmental dimensions of development makes it dovetail with the aspirations of the 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals. As Nigeria is currently perfecting a successor development plan to the ERGP, there is no gainsaying the fact that COVID-19 mitigation and adaptation strategies, all of which revolve around technological innovation, will feature as a salient component. Science, technology, and innovation, STI, and the management and application of knowledge systems will continue to play key roles in enhancing development and resilience of countries to crises, such as the COVID-19 pandemic in many ways. As a matter of fact, COVID-19 adaptation and mitigation strategies already represent the fulcrum around which the Nigerian Economy Sustainable Plan, a 2.3 trillion naira transit plan between the Economic Recovery Growth Plan and the Social Plan of the RGP, which is currently in the pipeline, revolves. The NASP, developed in consultation with cabinet ministers, head of federal agencies, the Presidential Economic Advisory Council, state governors, and National Assembly, essentially focuses on development of a plan that responds robustly and appropriately to the challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic, identification of physical measures to enhance oil and non-oil government revenues and reduce non-essential spending, creation of a financial stimulus package for the Nigerian economy, articulation of specific measures to support the 36 states and the FCT, and support for the medium and small scale enterprises, and the creation of jobs. It is designed and implementation are driven by the need to mainstream local contents in contracts and procurement, stimulate economy, create and preserve jobs, and ultimately focus on the poor and vulnerable as a strategy of achieving inclusive development. The specific interventions expected from the Nigerian Economy Sustainable Plan, some of which have been materializing, are the mass agricultural program, infrastructure in the form of extensive public works, road construction program, and mass housing program, installation of solar home systems for 5 million households, serving about 25 million individual Nigerians who are currently not connected to the national grid, and investment in healthcare infrastructures. Interventions are also in the form of informal sector support, business support for MSMEs, expansion of the National Social Investment Program, and support for state government. It is important to note that all these actionable endeavors, which are aimed at enhancing the sustainability of the economy, can be conduced with the adoption of the right technology. In addition, there are salient aspects of the economy, such as education, industry, commerce, and sanitation, not specifically included in the Nigerian Economy Sustainable Plan, which the COVID-19 pandemic has seriously disrupted. And technology adoption has yet played a key role in stabilizing even beyond the pandemic era. For instance, in the educational sector today, the consensus in the post-COVID-19 epoch is now in favor of the hybridization of in-person learning with online learning that was in vogue in the heat of the pandemic. The future of work are also being reshaped as work processes have become even more digital and consequently more flexible, with most establishments adopting a work-from-home policy for their staffers. Similarly, commerce is now more digitally driven, and The need to perpetually maintain a clean and disinfected environment keep justifying technological-based inventions. Similarly, in the health sector, especially in the actual management of COVID-19 pandemic, emerging technologies and innovative solutions in improved diagnostics, cost-effective ventilators, and efficient way of hand washing, personal protective equipment have been utilized in addressing the COVID-19 pandemic. Considering the importance of health and well-being of citizens to the virality of the economy, it is even more important for emphasis to be on indigenous development of vaccines, manufacturing of cost-effective health equipment, and leveraging indigenous health solutions. It should be emphasized, however, that all this cannot be realized without government at all tiers under their various operational organs prioritizing research and capacity building. That is why at the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro, for instance, in keeping with our research and community service mandate, research efforts that equally represent the institutional contribution to the national quest for healthcare, panacea, to the COVID-19 pandemic, most especially in the area of affording cheaper, handler, and efficient alternatives in an era of economic downturn, have accumulated in breakthrough, such as the design and construction of a mechanical ventilator, a disinfectant booth, and a multiple outlet hand washing machine. Ladies and gentlemen, while it is key to ensure that the Nigerian economy is sustained for technological growth, it is equally important to know that technological growth in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic is itself a strategy for economic resilience, adaptation, and sustainability. Suffice to say, to substantiate that the variables of economic sustainability and technological growth are essentially interdependent and indeed analogous to the arcane chicken and egg, which one came first. Finally, there is no doubt Nigeria has shown great capacity within peer African nations in both improvised and planned responses to COVID-19 pandemic in such a manner that has yielded relatively lesser casualties and economic deterioration. But there are still areas that need improvement. More fundamentally, there is a need to enhance people-driven knowledge, multi-sectorial and interdisciplinary knowledge partnership, research enhancement and promotion, and ultimately the application of research to promote innovation. It is my hope and desire that this conference will feature papers and discourses that will interrogate and the foregoing while expanding the conversation with the view to offering even more lasting and workable strategies towards sustaining the Nigerian economy for technological growth and vice versa. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all, and here wishing you a highly intellectually tasking and extremely profitable discussion. Thank you and welcome to the great Federal Polytechnic Ilaro. On this note, I want to declare the conference open. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that insightful address. We are ever grateful to you for your leadership. We want to take this time out to introduce our keynote speaker for today. Dr. Sheye Awojobi is a registrar with CIBN, that's Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Please, can we have the screen of the citation? Profile of Mr. Olusoye David Awojobi, PhD, FCIB. Olusoye David Awojobi, PhD, FCIB, an alumnus of the prestigious Harvard Business School, Executive Education, is the Registrar and Chief Executive of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, CIBN. He qualified as an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria in 1990. Please, can you increase the font? The fonts, increase the fonts. He was elected a fellow of the Institute of CIBN in 2008. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Banking and Finance, Master's degree Business Administration, and Doctor of Philosophy in Business Administration and Marketing. He majored in entrepreneurship. He's a seasoned professional banker, an institute scholar, a member of the Institute of Directors of Nigeria, associate member, Institute of Chartered Mediators, and conciliator, as well as that of the Nigerian Institute of Management, Chartered. Dr. Awojobi began his banking career. I'm sorry, the font is okay. Dr. Awojobi began his banking career at the National Bank of Nigeria in January 1986 before joining the services of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, CIBN, Lagos branch in 1996. He subsequently moved to the National Secretariat of the Institute in 2000, where he rose through the ranks to become the Registrar and Chief Executive in 2015. Prior to his appointment by the Governing Council, Dr. Awojobi has served in notable strategic positions in the Institute, including Group Head, Deputy Director, Directorate of Ethics and Professionalism, Group Head, Directorate of Education, Group Head, Directorate of Consultancy Training and Research, Zonal Coordinator, Abuja Zonal Office, Northern Region. During his career, he has garnered international exposures in the management of professional banking institutes from various countries, including United Kingdom, United States of America, Canada, Scotland, Finland, Germany, Malaysia, Singapore, Korea, India, South Africa, Ghana, Rwanda, the Gambia, and so many others. As Registrar and Chief Executive of CIBN, he also serves as the Secretary, Bankers Committee, Subcommittee on Ethics and Professionalism for the Nigerian banking industry and the industry's financial ombudsman services. Dr. Awojobi is a trainer and consultant of repute. He has consulted for several organizations and banks, both locally and internationally, in the areas of people, systems, and strategy, etc. He also consulted for the federal government of Nigeria and European Union on state economic empowerment development strategies, SEETS assessment. He is a member the Human Capital Development and Information Communication Technology Consultancy Committee of the FSS 2020 project of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Dr. Awojobi was recently elected chairman of the Alliance of African Institutes of Bankers. He was also instrumental to the election of Abuja, Nigeria, and the permanent secretariat of the Alliance. Dr. Awojobi successfully coordinated the formation and inauguration of the Global Banking Education Standards Board. As a member of the Global Task Force charged with this assignment, he was also elected a member of the 9-member Education Committee of GBE-STB. He currently serves on the board of various institutions, including the Institute of Directors, Center for Corporate Governance, Center for Micro-Enterprise Development, and so many others. Ladies and gentlemen, I hereby yield the floor to Dr. Seyi Awojobi to give us his keynote address. Dr. Awojobi, you are very much welcome. We wanted to take over now and present.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. the Rector Architect Olusegun Aluko, PhD, the Deputy Rector Engineer Mrs. I.K. Ogunfayo, the other principal officers of the school, deans, heads of departments, and other members of the faculty of Federal Polytechnic Ilaro, and the most articulate students of Federal Polytechnic Ilaro, ladies and gentlemen. I like to say that it is my privilege and pleasure to act as the keynote speaker today at the 12th Annual National Conference of the School of Management Studies, Federal Polytechnic Ilaro. First, I would like to convey to you the apologies of our Registrar Chief Executive, Dr. Sheye Awojobi, FCIB, who would have loved to personally deliver this keynote address, but could not, because he is hosting the largest gathering of bankers at the Fort opened by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Forces, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, yesterday. The event also, at the opening ceremony, attracted the President of Rwanda, President Kagame. So he has, however, asked me to pass on his best wishes to the organizers. And my name is Shegun Shonubi. I like to deliver his paper on his behalf and like to congratulate the management and leadership of Federal Poly Ilaro for successfully sustaining this conference over the past 11 years. We'd like to also congratulate you for providing the unique gathering of the academic community, together to present and explore revolutionary ideas and opinions. And we would like to encourage you to keep up this opportunity as it is a vital channel through which younger Nigerians will contribute to national development. Please, you can share the slide, please. But I would like to say that it's quite disappointing that we are not in a position to be together as we have done in the past, as I've been done in the past in the campus in Ilaro. But it's an attestation to your resilience that you did not allow the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic to affect the continuity of the conference. So you also would like me to acknowledge the presence of the rector who have done, and Dr. M.A. Akinde, the Dean, School of Management Studies, and for the honor, given to him to present his thoughts. And he believed that the relationship between our two institutions, the Chinese Bankers of Nigeria, because we have a linkage program with your banking and finance department, and the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro will continue to work stronger even in future. And a glance through the program revealed that Professor James Ilabuya, a professor of accounting and taxation of the Department of Accounting, University of Benin, will present the lead paper on the theme. So without preempting him, he would like to just briefly highlight his thoughts on the subject matter. And to start with, we would like to say that the theme of the conference, Sustaining the Nigerian Economy for Technological Growth Amidst the COVID-19 Pandemic, speaks directly to the yearnings of most economies as they recover from the disruptive effects of the dreaded coronavirus pandemic. You must also say that is the most opportune, relevant, and could not have been more timely in these difficult times when the entire world is going through the devastating effect of coronavirus pandemic. This presentation is structured under three broad headings: the Nigerian economic structure pre-COVID, the coronavirus pandemic and its impact on the economy, and the imperative of the paradigm shift in the policies and programs. And it talked about, the next slide, please. It talks about, since the discovery of oil,
Nigeria had sadly suffered from the popular Dutch disease, which is characterized by the neglect of other sectors of the economy as a result of the discovery or exploitation of invaluable national resources. Sadly, the revenue from crude oil, was mismanaged, and we can all attest to this. The expected development is not there. As of 2006, it was estimated that some $380 billion has been squandered since its independence. And there has also been inconsistency in microeconomic management of the country, which has led to high volatility in inflation rate, exchange rate, and unemployment, among others. Currently, as we are aware, insecurity became heightened from the activities of Boko Haram. There is this herders and farmers crisis. There is activities of bandits and agitations across geopolitical zones in the country. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. There are a number of initiatives developed to arrest the dwindling economic fortune of the country. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. A number of initiatives developed to arrest the dwindling economic fortunes of the country did not yield the desired results as a result of many factors, including lack of continuity of initiatives by successive governments. And we all know what this means. Gross mismanagement of the country's natural resources, poor investment in infrastructure, which can spur growth and development. You will all realize that it's very recently that we are even being able to put a few things on infrastructure together. You can't believe that the well-used Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is taking more than 2 decades to develop, and those are part of the issues. There's also lack of government's commitment and consistency in the funding of educational sector across all levels, among several others. And the depth and spread of coronavirus pandemic has made it to gain notoriety as the most worrisome global crisis in recent history. While the world was celebrating victory over the virus, and you could understand that late last year, we felt that the thing was going, and it relapsed into the second and third waves, which signaled that the global battle against the disease is yet to be over. At its peak, like the director noted in his speech, the virus collapsed activities in virtually all sectors of the economy, directly or indirectly. In fact, at some point, I recall last year that we had to stay at home permanently for like 2 months, when people could not go. Even now, people are still, majorly working from home. And that's one of these reasons why we cannot also hold this as an in-person conference. As you may be aware, it decimated both lives and livelihoods, introduced new models in international trade, business relations, commerce, education, sports, culture, and even religion. With about 220 million cases globally and 4.5 million deaths, the crisis distorted growth predictions for 2020 and 2021 across all economies. At the global level, there has been varying projections on the recovery rate across economies. It's expected that there will be uneven recovery rates across economies, with the developed countries recovering faster than the low-income or developing countries due to easy access to vaccines and more advanced technologies in managing the crisis. The World Bank had predicted that sub-Saharan Africa's recovery is expected to remain fragile given the slow pace of vaccination and delays to major investments in infrastructure. Nigeria, I must say, has also had its fair share of the impact of COVID-19, as it caused unprecedented disruptions to the economy, businesses, and even livelihoods of people. The overarching impact of COVID-19, both on the health and wealth of nations, including Nigeria, suggests the need for a paradigm shift in the manner managers of various economies approach growth and development. With advancements in information and telecommunication, and communication technology, it appears the world is yet to fully grasp the extent to which the physical, biological, and digital spaces will be collapsed into a seamless one. Just imagine the disruption already occasioned by technologies such as artificial intelligence, which the director also mentioned in his speech, machine learning, big data, robotics, and the Internet of Things. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say that McKinsey has identified 5 priorities for accelerating digital transformation in Africa and by extension in Nigeria. And what are these priorities? Expansion of online business and broadening of digital offerings. It's imperative that digital infrastructure is built to facilitate end-to-end digital customer journeys using technologies such as video and live chats for customer interaction. The enabling environment should be created for retailers to build up uninterrupted online presence and develop new logistics solutions. It also identified fostering of an enabling environment for rapid digitization. It says that government should ensure that all key enablers are in place to support digital adoption. For example, government and technology companies can make sure that the data is affordable, while regulators can take steps, such as allowing banks to accept e-signatures. That would require, the National Assembly, the State House of Assembly, and the government taking, bills to the National Assembly to pass for the acceptance of e-signatures. Bringing the public sector into the digital stage. Government should step up the provision of digital services and information and harness digital tools to collect, manage, and use data to inform decision-making. There must be a deliberate digitization in society and the economy by using the crisis as a port to accelerate the rollout of digital ID signatures and registries. And we are all familiar with the fact that the public sector, I don't want to say it's backward, but if we must achieve technological growth, the public sector must also move towards the adoption of digitization. The transformation must start actually from the public sector. The speed up infrastructure investments. We cannot overemphasize the need for development of infrastructure. We cannot overemphasize. But the need for accelerated digital transformation will require a need to speed up investments in this area, So to support broader digitization, major infrastructure expansions will be required, including networks and enhancement and last mile connectivity, as well as electricity supply. And I would like to say that the government is moving well in this area. In fact, just last week, there is the Federal Executive Council's adoption of the 5G network, to improve on the speed of what we currently have, and I expect that a lot more should take place in the next 2-3 years. And we know that when this government came into place, it created the Ministry of communication technology in order to drive it. And that ministry is currently, doing well to drive it. The last but not the least in this, as identified by McKinsey, is to scale up digital skills. That Nigeria needs a workforce equipped for the post-COVID next normal. As you know, people are saying that with this COVID, the era we are in is the new normal, but the post-COVID, there will be the next normal, in which digital skills will be at the core of many occupations, if it is not currently there. Because, we do transactions, we do e-banking, there's even e-governance, and part of it is what we are doing. Without the impact of digitization and probably the impact of COVID, maybe we will still have postponed this program. We wouldn't have gone, this way. So I must commend the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro, for doing it. So there will be training infrastructure must be put in place for both the basic skills like mobile transactions and advanced ones such as coding and graphic design. The above key priorities are critical, for Africa and in particular Nigeria to reposition itself for sustained and inclusive growth during and post-COVID era. The managers of the economy should accept the fact that the pandemic has reset the world and there may not be a return to our former way of living, capacity building, and business transactions. And I listened copiously to the rector's speech, and he talked about a need for ongoing, that we will have a hybrid of learning, which will be virtual and in-person. And that has come with us. So we need to continuously develop in this area. Competitiveness in the new era will depend largely on how human capacity is built by economies in these digital skills and competencies, as well as the creation of a supportive policy environment for technology adoption and deployment. So I would like to say that because of this era, and we are aware of a lot of things the pandemic has done to us. For instance, specifically, and the rector mentioned it, about 200,000 cases and 2,005 deaths in Nigeria. In fact, this has spiked because of the third wave of the virus in Nigeria. It has also affected the SMEs. Reveals that 94.3% of SMEs in Nigeria are negatively impacted by the pandemic, particularly in the areas of cash flow. This is telling, considering the central space SMEs have in the country's economic value, employing over 75% of the active workforce in the economy. And we're saying that 80.4% of businesses, reported that they were likely to lay off if they have not laid off, citing the prolonged period of the pandemic, inability to pay staff, poor sales, and restricted movement. And I'm sure you all know what will happen to hotels of this world. So many things were affected, especially in countries where tourism is the highest earner, for them. And it also affected our mainstay, because in the first quarter of 2020, an average daily oil production of 1.6 billion barrels per day was recorded, which was lower than the average daily production of 2 million barrels per day recorded in the same quarter, of the previous year. This was likely due to restrictions in movement and generally a lower demand, for petroleum. We also know that the country currently has 94 million of its population living in extreme poverty, and over 7 million fell into, this extreme poverty in 2020 only. And that is due to the pandemic. And the education sector, which we all belong, was largely disrupted with great disparity in response approach by government-owned institutions and privately owned ones. I don't want to go into details of this because we all belong, to this. So we'll know how this, panned out for us. And the World Bank forecasted in 2021 that the COVID-19 crisis will result in additional 10.9 million in Nigeria entering into poverty by 2020. With the current infamous ranking as the poverty capital of the world, COVID-19 is worsening, these are our discouraging statistics. The rector, deputy rector, principal officers of the Federal Polytechnic, Ilaro, I would like to say that the need to deliberately infuse technology adoption in the national policies and programs can no longer be on the wish list of Nigeria. It has become hello, I hope you are still hearing me, that I'm not talking to myself.
Yes, sir, we are hearing you.
Okay, so cannot not just be on the wish list of the country. It's something our leaders should do, and they must quickly do that. So not only does digital revolution enhance productivity, but it also has the potential to resolve issues that threaten long-term growth, especially in this peculiar time that we are in. And these are the recommendations of the registrar for harnessing technological growth for sustainable economic growth in the Nigerian context in the COVID era. The first is talks about funding. The government should consider the creation of a national innovation fund, which will, fund the implementation of bespoke technological innovations in Nigeria. This initiative, which could be in the form of a public-private partnership, will also support higher institutions through funding of evidence-based research on innovations tailored to the Nigerian market. There will also be effective public-private partnership through capacity building, expertise, and tools. Sharing technologies can support government in rebuilding the economy. The Bank of Industry, which is an agency of the government, must deepen in its activities at promoting digital entrepreneurship for job creation and employment generation that will lead to overall capital formation in the economy. The second point is the development review and implementation of digital policy or digitization policy. The Nigerian government should create an enabling environment by way of favorable digitization policies that support innovators and indigenous tech companies who create solutions for key sectors of the economy. The process of filing patents for homegrown innovations should be made seamless, while locally produced innovations should be given top priority for implementation and adoption. And I believe that the National Assembly should also strengthen the appropriate laws to protect the patents. And the third point is the training, continued training and education. Learning institutions should facilitate training of their students on the latest technology and encourage the use of this knowledge to create homegrown solutions. The business of innovation should be taught to enable innovators protect their intellectual property. The last but not the least is saying the creation of a platform that it wants to encourage the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro, as well as other higher institutions, to continually provide platform for young scholars to submit their research-based works on innovative subject matter that not only contributes to the existing body of knowledge, but provides real-world solutions to ever-persistent problems plaguing the Nigerian economy. Most importantly, participation and engagement platforms like this represent useful tools to engage with the citizenry and establish initiatives to collectively brainstorm for policy solutions to achieve sustainable economy. the rector, sir, the deputy rector, other principal officers of the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro. Once again, he wants to thank the organizers for giving him the unique privilege to address these distinguished participants at this year's conference. And I'd like to thank you all for your kind attention. This I presented on behalf of Dr. Sheye Awojobi, the Registrar Chief Executive of the Charter Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shonubi, Mr. Shegun Shonubi, for doing justice to Dr. Sheye Awojobi's paper. We appreciate all of the notations that you have made. We want to use this opportunity to seek for Professor Ufan James Elaboya to please signify if he has already joined. Has Professor Ufan James Elaboya joined? Please, if you have joined, we just want you to signify. Professor Ufan James Elaboya from University of Benin. Okay, I've been made to understand that he hasn't joined. So while we are waiting,
he has just joined. He has just joined.
He has just joined. So please, I want us to note our questions and down. Our questions for the first presentation, please let us note them, let us write them down. Once Professor Elaboya finishes with his presentation, we are going to take all of the questions together. So, Professor Ufan James Elaboya, we want you to share your screen so we can read out your citation, sir. Please share the citation of Professor Elaboya.
We have it.
Professor Ufan James Elaboya, you are welcome, sir. I can see that you have joined. We are waiting for the screen display your citation. Please, can we have the screen shared? And Mr. Shonubi, please, we want you to still stay on till the end of this presentation because there will be some questions for you. It's not bold enough. Professor Ufan James Elaboya was born on 23rd of January 1969 to the family of Mr. and Mrs. Elaboya in Eteye, Imai, Owan East local government area of Edo State. Professor Ufan James Elaboya bagged a BSc degree in accounting from the prestigious University of Benin, Edo State in the year 1995. He also bagged his MSc in the year 2000 in accounting from the same university. Professor Ufan James Elaboya is an MBA degree holder from the University of Benin, Edo State, and he bagged this in the year 2012. Professor Fan James Elaboya bagged a PhD degree in financial management from the University of Benin, Edo State. So all of his tertiary education were from the University of Benin. Professor Fan James Elaboya is a well-seasoned presenter, a well-seasoned researcher and academic scholar who has attended and presented research papers at 33 academic conferences in the past 6 years. He has also published quality research papers in 12 local journal outlets, 40 national journal outlets, and 21 foreign journal outlets in the last 8 years. I think he deserves applause for this. Professor Fan James Elaboya has supervised 12 MBA graduates, 8 MSc graduates, 1 MPhil graduate, and 13 PhD graduates in the last 6 years, and is still very active in the field. Professor Fan James Elaboya is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN. He's also an associate member of National Accounting Association. Professor Elaboya is an associate member of Institute of Cost Management of Nigeria. He's also an associate member of Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. He's an associate member of Institute of Entrepreneurs and also an associate member of Academy of Management in Nigeria. He is also a member of African Academy of Management. Professor Elaboya is serving a few universities in Nigeria in the capacities of visiting professor, external examiner, and examination panel member. Professor Elaboya is currently the editor-in-chief, Accounting and Taxation Review Journal. He was also the editor-in-chief, Management Sciences Review Journal from 2018 till 2020. Professor Fan James Elaboya is an assessor of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. Professor Fan James Elaboya is also currently a professor of accounting and taxation at the University of Benin, Edo State. He is married and blessed with 3 children. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Professor Elaboya. Professor Elaboya, I yield the space to you for you to make your presentation, sir, as the lead paper presenter. Professor Elaboya, could you please unmute yourself?
Yes, like I said, for that citation, and I like to stand on the existing protocol established by the PRO of the Polytechnic. And I like to start by saying good afternoon to all the participants. Like you rightly heard, my name is Professor Fan James Elaboya. I'm a professor of accounting and taxation in the University of Benin. My paper is actually on...
Professor Elaboya, sir, we would like you to share your slide.
Yes, but the thing is, you have to grant me a host status to be able to share my slide. You have to grant me a host status. I've already shared my slide, but I'm not the host. That's the problem. That's why you're not seeing it.
You can go ahead and share your...
I've shared it
slide,
right
sir.
now. I've shared it now. Are you seeing it?
We are not seeing it. Please click on share so that you can.
No, I have
see
shared. You know, I'm not a host. That is the problem. I'm not a host. You are the
No,
host.
Yes,
if you grant me a host status.
I've enabled you to be able to share from
All
here.
right, okay, okay,
Yes.
okay. 1 minute. Yeah, can you see it now?
It's blank.
It's blank.
Your screen is blank. Yes.
That means I've not granted. I've not granted it.
I've granted you, sir. You can stop it and reshare.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do now.
Yes.
I'm gonna do. Can you see? Can you see?
It's still blank, sir.
It's still blank.
Okay, yeah, we can see now.
You can see it now.
Yes, sir.
All right. Sorry for that disruption. Like I said, my paper is Nigerian Economy, Technological Growth During COVID-19 Pandemic. Now, like we all know, this is a new normal. And the earlier we come to tune with the fact that this is how things are probably just going to go, the better for all of us. Now, I looked at the Nigerian economy presently, and I said Nigeria is adjudged to have the highest concentration of Black people on planet Earth, with probably over 200 million people at present. Now, before COVID-19, the economy of Nigeria is not very robust to the extent that the impact of the COVID will not have a considerable negative implications for businesses and individuals. And on that note, I would like us to look at some indices that we have come up with as to the robustness of the economy of Nigeria vis-a-vis economies of developed economies in the world. Now, I looked at life expectancy. And in the year 2021, the life expectancy for Nigeria is put at 60.87 years, with males having a life expectancy of 59 years and females life expectancy of 60.87 years. Then beyond life expectancy, I look at corruption perception index. National, the 2020 corruption perception index ranked Nigeria at number 149 out of the 180 countries that were sampled. Nigeria was adjudged to be the second most corrupt country in West Africa, coming after Guinea-Bissau, which occupied number 1. And in addition to that, I look at the ease of doing business in Nigeria. In the year 2020, Nigeria ranked 131st out of 190 countries, according to the World Bank. The most business-friendly country then in 2020 that came as number 1, that was ranked first, was New Zealand. And in addition to that, we also looked at the ease of paying taxes. Nigeria ranked 159 out of 190 countries on the World Bank ease of paying taxes. I also looked at the tax to GDP ratio. And permit me to say that currently we have a tax to GDP ratio of 6.1% in 2020, compared to Denmark with 46.3%. In addition to all those indices, the ease of starting business, the World Bank ranked Nigeria as number 105 out of 190 countries that were sampled, based on the ease of starting business. The ease of getting electricity, the World Bank ranked Nigeria the 169th country out of 190 countries on the ease of getting electricity. Now, we looked at the ease of trading across border. The World Bank ranked Nigeria 179th country out of 190 countries on the ease of trading across border. Now, these indices are not looking good for a country like Nigeria that is priding itself as the giant of Africa and the world's most populous Black country. Now, the advent, it's something that will negatively impact the already bad indices that we're seeing in Nigeria. Now, what is COVID-19? COVID-19 was believed to have originated in bats and pangolins, with the first transmission to humans in Wuhan, China. The virus can cause diseases in both humans and animals. It is a severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS. The first major outbreak was in 2002, and the new strain is codenamed COVID-19, meaning coronavirus disease of 2019. This disease is reported to have killed about 4.55 million people, about twice the population of New Mexico worldwide, with 2,619 deaths coming
from our own Nigeria. Now, definitely, this disease, COVID-19, is going to impact not only businesses, not only the economy of Nigeria, even the humans. And that is why I took time for us to look at the impact of COVID-19, implication for businesses. Now, the focus on the issue of COVID-19, there is a health disease, but permit me to say that the disease transcends health issues. It's more of a multi-sectoral crisis that we are witnessing. It has health implications, and I've said about 4.55 million people have died of this disease worldwide, and in Nigeria, 2,619. Of course, the different health implications of COVID-19 are too numerous to start enumerating. Issues of social inequalities that are associated with the advent of COVID-19, distortion of well-being and social framework, through social distances and lockdown. If you look at the crime rate of Nigeria during the period of lockdown, you will see that there is a geometric, because people were idle, they were at home. Those who were used to staying at home, that were upwardly mobile, they had businesses to do, to attend to, they had work to do. That was no longer possible. And because it was a first occurrence as far as Nigeria is concerned, the implication on even the humans was so disastrous. And like I said, there was a geometric increase in the rate of crime in Nigeria as at that period. Even the stigmatization after COVID-19. I'm not sure I want to shake a man who has been confirmed to have been infested with COVID-19. That stigmatization is still there. And for those of us who know those who were infested, we find it difficult to even go near their homes for fear of not being infested with COVID-19, even when you've been told that this man is now hale and healthy. So this also is a negative impact of COVID-19. The closure of schools and universities, loss of jobs and learning demotivation is also another negative impact of COVID-19. Schools were closed, primary, secondary. Africa was worse hit because before the advent of COVID-19, we were not used to the use of technological tools in learning. We didn't even have the facilities. And in addition to that, there was spike in unwanted pregnancy, use of alcohols and drugs. When people are locked down at home, there is nothing else for them to do. We had instances of siblings who impregnated themselves. Now, an idle man is the devil's workshop. If you're at home and you're not doing anything, most people resorted to alcohol, excessive consumption of alcohol, and even hard drugs. And in addition to that, we had a problem of food scarcity and high prices of the available one. This problem of food scarcity and high price of the available one has still not even left us. Today, a module, a rubber of beans that used to cost 600 naira is now 2,000 naira. Before the advent of COVID-19, it was sold for 600, but today it's 2,000 naira. So the negative impact of COVID-19 are so numerous for us to capture in this presentation for want of time and space. Now, I looked at COVID-19 pandemic because we are looking at what is the implication of technology in terms of growth occasioned by COVID-19. And I called it opportunities inherent in the current crisis. According to Martin Luther King Jr., the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moments of comfort, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. It is on that note, I'm going to x-ray, without wasting your time or boring you with details, some of the inherent opportunities that come even in the current crisis that we're looking at. Now, one, we look at women, the effect of COVID-19 on women. We all know that those who go to markets, they are women. Those who have kiosks, they are women. And during this lockdown, women weren't going to markets. And we have anecdotal evidence that has shown that about 85% of the informal sector was hit by the lockdown. And who are those that populated the informal sector? They are women. But however, within the crisis that's caused by the lockdown on our women, there is an opportunity in the sense that by the time you are developing emergency or recovery responses at this level, you must take women into consideration because the issue of pandemic has always been there. But the problem is we do not take proactive measures to ensure that the impact is not seriously felt. And that is why today we now know that by the time we are putting in place measures to curb COVID-19 with the one that is existing, women must take a center stage. There must be equality in terms of the measures that we use to enhance the negative, to reduce the negative impact of COVID-19. That's one. I also looked at education. Now, according to Dunley, Patrinos, and Gresham 2021, at the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, 45 countries in Europe and Central Asia region closed their schools, affecting 85 million students. The situation in Africa may have been worse, without sounding immodest. This is because we do not have record of database of how many schools that were closed in Africa and how many students that were affected. But however, we are aware, well aware, that schools in Nigeria were completely closed down. Apart from some that had semblance of online learning, which were marred with irregularities, electricity problem, and even cost of data, and the instability of the internet in Nigeria, there was a complete lockdown of the school system. But however, within the crisis of the lockdown of the school system, something came up as an opportunity. What we are doing now could not have been possible. Nobody would have thought it to be possible to stay in the comfort of my living room in Benin City and be delivering a lecture.
We apologize for that break in transmission. I want to believe Professor Fan James Laboya is trying to join again. Okay. Sir, could you please unmute yourself and continue with your presentation?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, sir.
All right, sorry for that break in transmission. That's one of the limitations that we talked about in Nigeria. Let me share this slide quickly.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you see it?
No, we can't.
You can't see the slide?
Yeah. Okay, now we can see the slide.
All right, all right. Now, like I was saying, according to Donnelly, Patrinos, and Gresham, that at the peak of the coronavirus in 2019, about 45 countries in the Europe and Central Asia region closed their schools, affecting 85 million students. The situation in Africa may have been worse, without sounding immodest. But this is because we do not have records to show how many schools were closed. But we do know that virtually all schools in Nigeria were closed, whether primary, tertiary, and so on and so forth. But however, like I said, within this negativity that has to do with closure of school and suspension of learning, the implementation of learning recovery programs such as online school platforms, blended learning, radio, and telecasts were available to students. And like I said, what we are doing now, who would have think that it is possible to stay in the comfort of my living room in Benin City and be delivering a paper to participants in a conference that is taking place as fast as Ilaro? It was almost an impossibility. But thank God, today it had been made possible by the problem of COVID-19. Now, in addition to that, according to Apedo Ama et al. In 2020, the COVID shock has been severe and widespread across companies with continuous negative impact on revenue, employment, and cash flows. People weren't going to work. Companies were down, production was zero, and that had negative impact on the revenue of the businesses, which collectively will affect the growth of Nigeria. It is on record that the growth rates of GDPs across countries in the world was reduced as a result of the shutdown occasioned by COVID-19. But however, within this crisis of business lockdown, the implementation of technology tools in business operation, especially digital platforms, product innovation, remote or virtual offices, employee rotation, statutory holidays, and unpaid leaves became apparent. Now, people work from their homes. People were working from homes. We now call that was virtual offices. Now, if I told somebody that, okay, I'll be able to work from home 5 years before now, I'll be working from home, I won't be able to come to office, I'm sure no person will give you opportunity as an employee if you say that you're going to start working from your home. But today, it has been made possible. Before now, in Japan, virtual offices has been in existence because Japan had a peculiar problem of very low landmass, and they had implemented the technology of virtual offices over 10 or 20 years ago. But the world wasn't copying it because they thought it was not something that would stay. But today, even in Nigeria, I know of people who still go to work from their homes. They go to even churches. As I speak to you, without sounding immodest, those of Jehovah's Witness faith, they still don't congregate. They still do online religious activities even to date. But things like this were not possible before now. You understand? Now there's rotation. If it is impossible for people to stay and work at home, those who come can be on rotation. And this is made possible through the crisis of COVID-19. Now, in addition to that, in our health sector, according to Dubanjo 2020, we have no funds to work with, so we cannot finance the health sector. It was a problem. Hospitals that were in epileptic situation even prior to COVID-19 were virtually non-in-existence in terms of delivery of health services. Our luck is that the impact of COVID-19 in Nigeria is not as high, and that is in quotes. I'm thinking it's not as high because people don't test. People don't test. If you see anybody with malaria and you take that person to test, that person is likely going to test positive for COVID-19. But the implementation of medical and non-medical precautions has improved the sanitary condition of people and the environment. It has changed our attitudes. Our behavioral attitudes has changed. Before now, people weren't used to washing their hands after every activity. But today, people now know that they have to wash their hands, keep their environment clean, and of course, wear face masks. Before now, 2 years ago, if you wore face masks in Nigeria, I'm sure people will start running and they will ask questions, is this mask still normal? But today, it has become a common thing for us. Now, before I wrap up my discussion, I'd like to tell you that there are some trends that are here to stay in Nigeria. Some trends that are here to stay in Nigeria. This new normal is not something that is leaving us very soon. And that is why we are saying that some trends that we must imbibe. For those who have not, they should develop the culture of some of the points I'm going to raise now. Remote work arrangements is a thing that has come to stay. It is a thing that has come to stay. Now, what we are begging the federal government of Nigeria is to enable us with facilities where there is no electricity. How are you going to be able to do remote work when you don't have internet services? Look at what just happened. There was a distortion. I had to change from one network to another to be able to continue this discussion. Now, but however, the best time to start, if you have not started before, is today, because I can stay in the comfort of my living room and not still deliver my lectures. So if we're not embracing it, we must continue to do it now, because this new normal is not going to leave us soon. Now we have customer service digitalization. That is a thing that is going to stay. It is going to stay. Before now, like in Benin City, we have delivery bikes. We have delivery bikes that were not in existence before COVID-19. But today we have delivery bikes. If I want to buy anything, it's for me to just call. And once I call and I make payment online, the product will be delivered to me. There's also e-commerce. E-commerce has come to stay. Now, self-service options. There's what we call self-service options. It must be such that at every point in time, you must know what to do. Ordinarily, if you go to the ATM is a self-service option. If we can do that at the ATM, we can do it everywhere. Now, there's what we call contactless delivery. If you are going to deliver a product to my house, you don't need to see me. Once I have paid and I have given you my address, what I expect is that you deliver the product right to my doorstep and you drop it there and leave. I don't have to see you. I don't have to touch you. All these are things that we must begin to embrace. Now, there is safety, clean environment, and health. We must keep our environment clean constantly. Clean environment, even our health. Today, not many persons have even been vaccinated. Not many persons have been vaccinated. Even some don't even believe that there is COVID-19. These are things that we must continue to educate people at every level you have interaction, to let people know that the COVID-19 is real, and you must put up measures to ensure that you are safe and healthy in this trying period. Now, bulk buying and stockpiling. Those who are not used to bulk buying should be used to bulk buying, so that by the time you get to the mall, all your essentials, you must buy them in bulk, so that it is not possible for you to start going to malls every day or go to markets every day and be in contact with people you don't know if they are vaccinated. Because even if you are vaccinated, you are still to take precaution as someone that is not vaccinated. There are people who have died even after taking the 2 jabs of COVID-19. There's blended learning in education. Now, for those that cannot embrace strictly online learning, then you must embrace blended learning, so that your physical contact with students will be reduced. The time that you spend with students in a class should be reduced. But these are all coming at a cost that we must all bear to stay alive and still continue. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the much that I have to say. I want to thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Yes, we can
Thank you,
entertain some
Professor Ilaboya,
questions. Yeah, thank
for
you.
the beautiful presentation. We want to take time out to call for questions. If you have questions for any of the presenters, please signify and then ask such questions. Questions, please. Whoever has a question can just raise his or her hand up, and then the person will be unmuted. I can't see anyone.
Huh? There's someone here.
Okay. Okay. Can we have the question, please?
Thank you so much, Professor Ilaboya. Earlier on, while I was presenting my speech, that Hello.
I can hear you.
Hello. No, hello.
I can hear you.
When I was presenting my speech earlier on, I was thanking Professor Laboye of University of Benin that he should help me to extend a pleasantry to Professor Eriki, who was my PhD supervisor when I was at Covenant. Professor Eriki was is a professor of finance.
Finance, yes.
And I'm happy that what he has done for me when I was in the Covenant University. I was also listening to your presentation. Well delivered, sir.
Thank you.
But I'm worried, sir, with this situation. We know that technology is moving. Earlier on in my presentation, I said that is technology, are we not behind in Nigeria? We want to deploy e-commerce. Despite electricity challenge. Prof, sir.
Yes, sir.
How do you think this is doable in the environment where the electricity is comatose, it's not regular? It's not regular. So how do we navigate around that? I earlier said that artificial intelligence, robotic economy is in the way. They are in the way. How will Nigeria be able to drive growth inclusive, given the fact that the electricity is not really encouraging? The e-commerce, the one that you are talking about, we thrive where we have a good supply of electricity. So I'm worried that that e-commerce can actually be a driver of growth in Nigeria. Any response to that, Prof?
Yes. Thank you so much for your question. And I'd like to tell you that.
So thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Professor Ricky, incidentally, was also my co-supervisor during my PhD in University of Benin. Well, your question is germane in the sense that there's no technology that can thrive without the infrastructure. But however, there must be a time to start. If I have not started before, the right time to start is now. We've always resolved to self-help in Nigeria. We've always resolved to self-help. There are no roads, no electricity. We have resorted to generators to power our houses. We don't have water. We have resorted to borehole to produce water for our homes. You know, the list is on and on and on. Now, we have to remain globally competitive as individuals. I'd like to thank Ogumbi for what he has done. You understand? I'd like to thank him so much. I like people who are innovative. Now, it would have even been easier for Ogumbi to take somebody from University of Ife or a very close associate that will, but the beauty of it is that we have been able to show to people that can be anywhere in the world and talk to people anywhere. Now, we cannot say that because the government is not providing the facilities that we should fold our hands. No. Globalization has removed the barriers. So which means if you are an academic in Nigeria and you go to Britain, if you don't function, maybe because you stayed back, because Nigeria is not providing the facility for us to grow, for us to be able to key into digital learning, then you stayed back. When you get to Europe, when you get to London and America, you will remain uncompetitive. That is the problem. That I understand quite well what you are saying. Your question, your fears, your worries are germane, but we cannot fold our hands. That is the truth. We can't fold our hands. That is why we must resort to self-help to be able to bring ourselves up to date so that we can remain globally competitive. We can use generator. Now, I have this system that I'm using. I'm going to be able to talk for 3 hours without it affecting my system. Now, I have subscription to Zoom myself. I can talk 24 hours on Zoom. It costs me 72,000 naira every year to get that subscription to Zoom. It is not paid for by my university. It is not paid for by government. But because I want to remain trendy, I don't want to go to America and people are talking. I don't know what they are saying about Zoom. So we must resort to self-help, hoping that one day the government of Nigeria will wake up to their responsibility. Thank you so much, and I hope I've been able to answer your question to a reasonable extent. Thank you.
Mr. Abiazem, can you go ahead with your question, please? Please unmute yourself and then ask your question, Mr. Abiazem. Mr. Abiazem, unmute yourself and then ask your question. Okay, Mr. Abiazem, you can ask your question now. Okay, there is also Taiwo Ijumi raising his hand. Please go ahead and ask your question, but first unmute yourself.
Thank
Okay.
you very much. Thank you very much.
You have been unmuted now. Please ask your question. Thank you very much.
Mr. Taiwo Ijumi, can I continue?
Okay, continue, please.
I want to thank the two presenters for their contribution so far. Thank you very much, sir. I'm Taiwo Ijumi from Department of Languages, Federal Polytechnic of FAR. My first question goes to Dr. Awu Dobi, while the second one goes to Prof. The first question has to do with the economy of Nigeria. In my opinion, before the COVID, our economy was good on paper, but poor in practice. During COVID, good on paper, poor in practice. What are we now going to do, sir? So that we are going to have an economy that will be good on paper, and it will be good in practice too. And you will see that in the lives of the masses in Nigeria. Then to Prof. Prof has been able to talk about digitalization. I appreciate that, sir. But my concern is how feasible it is to have digitalization of the public sector in Nigeria, in a country where you can be at home and make a call to JAM, to WAEC, to NAPTEP, to parastatals, to ministry, and nobody is there to pick that call to talk to you. Even if you send a message online, nobody is going to read it. They will say, come, come, come. Is digitalization feasible in Nigeria, sir? Thank you.
Thank you. I like that, your question. Now, digitalization, is it feasible in Nigeria? The question is, we do not have option. That is the issue. We don't even have option. So the earlier the stakeholders in the entity called Nigeria sit up and make it workable, the better for us. Because we're not living in a vacuum. We ain't living in a vacuum. So that is why I understand perfectly well what you have said, based on what is on ground. Because now I used to be the dean of my faculty. And when I got to the dean's office, I realized that they had a television where people just sit, the secretarial staff, they watch home video and Telemundo in the office. I called them and I told them, I said, come, if this is the culture in this office, it will not work with me. It won't work. It's not possible. Now, if you were even listening to CNN, I can understand. But you can't be talking about home video and telemundo in the office. And people will come, students will queue. Because you are so engrossed in what you are doing, you are not attending to them. My brother, we need a re-engineering first of our ZEBs and the system. But let me tell you something. In the private sector, things are working. Digitalization is working, even in the private sector. Now, the corruption that is endemic in Nigeria has made things, I don't know whether there is a spirituality in the endemic problem that we have in Nigeria. Are we cursed? Is a question. Now, leadership, what do you expect? I don't know how people can give what they don't have. If I do not know about COVID-19, digitalization, and the economy of Nigeria, I won't be bold enough to come here to stand and want to address this mixture of audience where we have doctors, professors, and so on as students. People can't give what they don't have. That is the problem we have in Nigeria. And that is why you can be an engineer, a road construction engineer, you are a health minister in Nigeria. Now, how do you then function? If things are not working well, how will you be able to observe? That is what we're saying. We do not have option because we are not living in a vacuum. We interface and interact with other countries in the world. That is the truth. So digitalization is compulsory, but we need a re-engineering of our mindset, a re-engineering of the whole system. Overhaul is long overdue. Long overdue. Now you can do your banking services online. I don't like visiting banks. I used to be a visiting professor to a school at Ondo State. When I saw the devastation that robberies did in the banks at a point in time, I got scared and I never wanted to visit banks, even in America. But I'm still able to do my transactions without going to the bank. That is private sector. Now, what they are taking in Nigeria is to drive the Nigerian public sector with private sector initiative. But it's not working. It's not working because a man who has secondary school that has risen through rank and file to become a director in a ministry will think like a secondary school holder. That is the problem. That is the problem. Now, until we begin to put square pegs in square holes, nothing will work. But I am praying because this is the Nigeria we have, and this is the Nigeria we believe in. We must make it work. Now, what we are doing here currently, some people can't do it in their schools. They cannot. But because we have people of like mind who believe that this can work, and you have made it work. You have made it work, and people are going to emulate you. I can tell you, it is not by being a professor. There are professors who can't even send email. They can't send email. So how do you make them key into digitalization? If such a professor is the president of this country, what do you think he will think on that? He will never think of something close to that so that he will not expose his deficiencies. Now, what we are doing now, Madam told me, share your file. I said, okay, I'm doing it. I'm not the host. He said, okay, I have granted you, share your file. I shared my file and we all saw it. It is not because I'm a professor, but because I have schooled myself on what I'm doing now. Nobody will carry you and say, go to school or go to a conference and go and learn how to do Zoom. No. But I have said, this is the in thing, and I have to clean so that I can remain globally competitive. But some have resolved to faith that technology is not for me. Then what do you do? So that's why I'm saying that first, we have to reorientate ourselves, that this new normal is a thing that will not go away from us. Secondly, the leaders that we have, you see, where there is a leadership problem, then it will transcend all the facets of that system. That is the problem. Now, if you tell the minister, I don't want to be, if you tell some people high up there to share a file that I have done, like I have done easily now, they will put their secretary beside them. The secretary will be the one to share the file. Now, a man who cannot navigate technology, what do you think he's going to say about technology? He's not interested. That's the problem. But we're praying that God's intervention will give us leaders who know that this is globalization and Nigeria is not in a vacuum. We must interface and interact with the external world. And to be able to do that, we must have the relevant facility. That's all. Whatever I'm using here is my personal money. The laptop I'm using, the modem, I have 2 modems, I have Glow, I have Smile, I have MTN, I have everything. At every point in time, whichever is working, I came to that. I came to it. Now, all the faces I'm seeing here now, today they have heard that there's one Professor Elabria, University of Benin. That would have made possible if I did not put myself in such a situation that we can do what we are doing now. We must, at our individual level, upgrade ourselves. If you upgrade yourself and I upgrade myself, then the whole entity called Nigeria will be upgraded. That is the truth. They're waiting so that technology. Now, let me tell you something. There's something we call luck in Nigeria. They say, the man is very lucky. What is luck? Luck is where opportunity meets preparedness. If you now say we are not likely going to digitalize, then you stay and fold your hands. If suddenly we have a Messiah that now digitalizes, to do this thing will not cost 1 month, you can digitalize the whole Nigeria. If we now digitalize in the next few weeks and you have stayed, you didn't upgrade yourself, then in the new scheme of things, you will not function properly. Thank you. I hope I'm able to answer your question reasonably. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me just,
Thank you so
my name is Shegun Shonubi. I'm answering the question for Dr. Awojobi. Let me just quickly say that I believe the Prof had combined the 2 questions. So thank you, Prof, for combining it. And the question is, economy being good on paper, and you want it to also be good in practice. Nigeria economy is work in progress. And most of the factors that it's affecting what we call by economy not being good, being poor in practice, is what Prof has alluded to, especially corruption. Our leaders must make conscious efforts to move us away from endemic corruption that has just been described. You know, and I will tell you this somebody told us that in Nigeria, when they award anywhere in the world, the contracts we award for our roads, for our everything, is almost 1,000%. Even for the ones in Africa, is almost 1,000% than anywhere in the world. And that way, you will be spending so much money to put things together. I told you in my presentation that the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway that we know is taking almost 2 decades for us to repair, and so much has gone down the drain. So the major thing why we are not seeing this is corruption. I'm sure if we are able to move away from corruption, we will free a lot of money that will be good for infrastructure. And once you put infrastructure in place, we'll then move to other things. The economy will be productive and it will have impact on the people. And so the economy will then be good in practice. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Elaboya. Thank you, Mr. Shonubi. I want to believe that you have both done justice to the questions. I want to toe the line of Professor Elaboya that change begins with each individual. What if all of the infrastructures were provided, the technological tools, and people who are to use those things are not ready to learn? What happens to those technological tools? They become moribund with time. So the very first thing to do is to start with ourselves. I think Mr. Abiazem still has his question. Or do you think the contributions made have taken care of your question? Mr. Abiazem? Are you still asking a question. Oh, okay. Please, any other question? Okay, I think Abiazem was the one trying to use Abiala's.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Abiazem, are you the one trying to use Abiala's account to ask the question? Okay, any other question before we move forward? Krista?
It's
Who is Krista Princess? Sorry, who is Krista Princess? Please unmute your. Please go ahead and ask your question. You have been unmuted. Abia. Crystal Princess, you have been unmuted. Please go ahead and ask your question.
no question to ask. Sorry, good afternoon.
In the absence of any other question, I want to call on the Dean, School of Management Studies, Dr. Emi Akinde, to give vote of thanks. Dr. Akinde.
I'm trying to use myself. It's not. Are you here?
Dr. Akinde.
Hello. Hello. Which one do I use? This one is not there.
You can use it. This is
Hello. Hello, thank you. Sorry for that delay. It's the technology that we are seeing. I want to appreciate God first for giving us this day. I'm Dr. Akinde MA, the Dean's Club of Study, giving the vote of thanks on behalf of every lecturer in the School of Study of Federal Polytechnic Ilaro. So I'm saying that I want to appreciate God first for giving us this day. In particular, I would also like to appreciate the management of the institution, headed by the rector, Architect Olusegun Aluko, giving us this support, giving us the facility, and conference. Let me also appreciate the paper presenter, in particular, Professor Efian James Elaboya of Accountancy, University of Benin. And in my remarks earlier, I said that my PhD supervisor, Professor Eriki, I'm also saying that please extend my pleasantry to him while you are there in Benin. Let me also thank Shegun Shonibi, representing CIBN registrar. I can see that the lectures that you have delivered, they are actually interesting. And I know that we have taken a lot of things away from it, in particular from what the prof said. There is no excuse for not using technology. Earlier on, when I was presenting my address, the technology also failed me, even though I had MTN, Nine Mobile, all the facilities are there, but it failed. But that's not an excuse for not joining or not using technology, because if you do not use it, you'll be left behind as an academic. I also want to thank all the lecturers in the School of Management Study who have joined this presentation, contributing in one way or the other. I know that there is no words that are enough for me to thank you, giving us this time, participating, asking questions, listening. I want to thank you. I can only say that God Almighty will bless you. Enhance your knowledge, Prof. Enhance your businesses and all that you do. And that we will continue this program tomorrow. So I'm also enjoining all lecturers to today. So we also continue today in the other 4 rooms for discussions so that we can come up with solutions to this problem that have been highlighted. So thank you and God bless you.
We appreciate all of you for staying from the beginning to the end. We appreciate the director one more time, the lead paper presenter, Professor Elaboya, the keynote speaker, Dr. Sheyawo Jobi, represented by Mr. Shonobi, all the deans who joined, and then heads of departments and colleagues. By this, we have come to the end of the opening session. So we want to announce that there will be plenary session starting from 1 p.m. We have about 4 rooms designated for that. Room 1 is for those in finance and accounts, room 2 for business management, room 3 for arts and humanities, room 4 for science, environment, and technology. So please avail yourselves of this opportunity of presenting your research findings so that you can be critiqued and then you can rework the paper, maybe possibly for publication in journal article, in journals rather. So we are closing by, with the national anthem once again. Can we have the national anthem, please? The national anthem. Hello, we are waiting for the director ICT to cue in the national anthem. Oh, okay. We should. Technology is experiencing glitches again. But we won't be deterred until we get things right. Thank you, everyone.
Federal Polytechnic in our home, first and the best in excellence. We provide one for the nation's progress, citadel of knowledge and character, dignity and wisdom. Great FPI, great in the technology. Our world is step towards development for much less achievement and unending breakthroughs. FPI fountain of love and delight, the spring of peace and the nation's love. Bedrock of excellent innovations, God's creation for all you know. Discipline and honesty, great FPI, great in technology. Our world is step towards development for much less achievement and unending breakthroughs.
Thank you all. The link for the plenary sessions have been, the links for the forums have been sent to the concerned persons. Please, the plenary sessions start by 1 p.m. 1 p.m. That means in the next 25 to 27 minutes, you are all expected, to hook up. Thank you. God bless. Bye.